to embrace that model. And something else that you mentioned, the first step of communism was to take away the parental control of your children and indoctrinate them, because if they can control education and your children, they control the country's future. And that is absolutely frightening, because we do see that happening here. They're taking the parental rights away. You can't even decide what your child can take in its school lunch. They're forced to eat this prison food that they're currently being served in public schools. I mean, just down to that, we see parents can't even walk into a school to pick their child up. They have to wait down in the back of the line, back where the cars are. There was a man that was arrested just trying to go pick his kid up from school. So we're already seeing that. They're telling you children belong to the state. That's quite frightening. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, when I was growing up, our grandparents and parents did not have any parental rights at all. It is clearly the communism declares children belong to the state. They are the state properties. Our parents have no idea. I mean, they have no input, including our teachers have no input. What are you going to learn? How many hours in school and how many days in school? And what kind of a curriculum you will have. We have a nationalized curriculum. Political study is one of the mandated subjects. And in that political study class, you're supposed to learn communist government's version of history. Like today's students I talk to, graduate from college, they don't have an idea about what Mao did during Cultural Revolution. They have no idea about the 1989 massacre in Tiananmen Square just 26 years ago, 25 years ago. Because if their parents are not teaching them at home, they are indoctrinated, brainwashed in school. They cannot even know the details about it. It's like a mystery to them. They just pretend nothing happened. That's what I'm afraid in this country. You already say happening in this country, the College Board, new framework for AP US history. They do not want you to know about founding fathers and about MLK, about capitalism. So 20 years from now, our kids will be active, productive citizens in this country. And they will not be true Americans anymore because they have no idea about their past. And they're going to repeat whatever the indoctrination wants them to say and to think. It's a very dangerous trend. That's why I'm so scared. That's why I am fighting this. This education issue is very dear to my heart. I think if you let your federal government, private corporation in bed together, control our education, take away our parental bill of rights, then we will not be the same country 20 years from now on.
Right. America is, that you mentioned that the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence were the two documents that made you come to America versus going to France or Spain or some other country. Those two documents are what they're trying to de-emphasize and take away the power of the people. And of course, America as the land of the free, this shining beacon in the darkness, if we fall into tyranny, then the whole world will go. So, I mean, this is a very important thing for people to listen to your story. You lived through it. You can see the writing on the wall. And, I mean, is there enough time to turn this back around? Are the children already so indoctrinated? We had a Mark Dice video where they didn't even know who MLK was. They did not even know who Martin Luther King Jr. was. They thought he had just passed away, that week when we were celebrating his birthday. So, I mean, are we too far?
Well, I am still trying to be optimistic because I believe that this is a country of the free and home of the brave. But I'm calling on all brave Americans to get involved, to take action. If majority of American people is silent when government's doing this kind of garbage to our country, to our children, then you're going to lose all the rights and freedom you have. So I'm still fighting. I want the people to join the fight and speak out and spread my messages, and by somebody who lived through this tyranny, this communist core education. If we all united, do not give up, and keep fighting, yelling, screaming, and shouting, we will hold our elected politicians accountable. We just cannot be silent. We cannot just say, oh, there's nothing as an individual I can do. I truly believe in individualism. One individual can make big difference. If we have millions of them united to make difference, the impact will be huge. So we just have to send a very clear now message to those people in Washington, in your state board education, in your state house and senate, and ask them to listen to you, to keep our freedom, to fight for parental bill of rights, and to keep our children belong to their parents, not to the state. But that will be going down the communist path. So please ask people to listen to this and go to my Facebook page, follow my post, and let's fight this together. Time is running out. We got to take action every day.
Absolutely. Very well said. And just briefly, now I know that something else that was really important to you, gun control laws. You are very outspoken against that. You have an article called Guns Against Tyranny, published on National Review Online. Just briefly talk to me about that article and why, in your experience, is this important?
I just testified a couple weeks ago to support a bill to repeal magazine ban in Colorado. They want to limit our magazines to be 15 rounds. And I asked them this question, how I'm going to use it against tyranny? Do you limit your government soldiers' magazines? Do criminals limit theirs? No. You only want to limit ours. Then how am I going to go fight against tyranny like students, citizens in Beijing 1989? If the government had all the tanks, all the machine guns, and citizens had no guns at all, gun right is extremely dear to me. When I first come to this country, hold a gun in my hand, I feel first time in my life, I'm no longer a slave. So I want to tell people gun rights, education are the two biggest issues we are facing today. Hold on to those rights and fight with your life, with your last breath. Do not give them up. And they are going to lose their children. They are going to lose, their Second Amendment right if they don't fight really hard to speak up. And I'm not exaggerating. It's like making things up, or, calling this communist call. To me, it is true. I went through that. I can say their strategies, their tactics are so familiar to me. It's like, don't bullshit me. I have listened to that before. I have seen that. I don't buy that at all. They make sounds wonderful. Global ready, college ready. We are new world order. We're going to improve our standards. It's a BS. It's not their purpose. Their purpose is to have government control. It's for profit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be made for the corporations.
Yeah, and for Americans, we've just always been free, quote unquote free, so we don't even realize when our liberties are being taken away from us, just slowly but surely. But from someone who's come where you had absolutely zero freedom to a country that is free, you're able to just recognize when those liberties are being slowly pulled, and you know what tyranny looks like. So
that's their technique anyway. Their technique is to take away, like Hitler said, just take away their freedom a little by little every day. So they don't realize it until the point is crossed. It's too late. You will be too late. I think this next couple years is very critical for us to fight. Get rid of Common Core and get rid of gun control attempts by some people, and to get people to involve, to be educated. There are lots of Americans who just not educated, they're not informed. And how important it is for you to keep your freedom. I think that's the most important thing in your life, because that's for your children's, grandchildren's sake. It's not just for your lifetime anymore. Right. So you cannot just go to work, bring home the bacon, make the money. I understand to some people that's priority if they're just making the ends meet. But if you let the government to take more and more your freedom, you cannot become successful. You cannot be prosperous. No matter how much you make, you're going to turn over to most of your earnings to Uncle Sam. What good does that do if you make more money?
Yeah, and you lived through food rationing, so you know what that's like, being taken care of by the government, providing for all of your needs when you live in a house that didn't even have heat or running water, and food rationing. So I don't know why people think that they're just going to be living in luxury when the state takes care of them. They're calling the
that's
state
what central
mommy and daddy.
Central planning socialism do to you, that eventually people who are productive, they have no incentives to go invest to produce jobs. Just like a movie, Agnes Shrugged, all those productive people will be disappearing. That's what the China economy was when I was growing up. It was no productivity, it was not efficient. So people were dirt poor. Everybody was poor except maybe very few percentage on the top. Then we had like a little bit of food, meat, and just rice and to survive.
Right.
You know, I really, that's why I can't let my kids waste food in this country. It's like, even what I went through, you got to eat this leftover next day.